It was a silent and tragic end to 2 lives, yet in many ways completely avoidable.
As a Durban couple slept, toxic fumes were seeping into their flat, slowly poisoning them. They never woke up.
But this wasn't a tragic accident. Investigators say it's the consequence of negligence on a criminal scale, and the couple's family is demanding justice. This is Observatory Court in Durban, the flat where Zoe Molver was born nearly 70 years ago. It's a place that holds precious memories, where Zoe's 3 boys were looked after by their grandparents while she was at work. Her sons had such a unique bond that when they flew the nest, they all gravitated back to the familiar embrace of the block of flats that provided them with a sense of certainty and comfort.
It is a flat of hope and a flat of joy and a flat of great history.
When Zoe's mother died, her middle son Nicholas and his wife Matri moved into what had been their grandparents' home, flat number 31.
They were at the start of a new life.
The couple were about to celebrate their 4th wedding anniversary. Matri was a gifted graphic designer with a great job, and Nicholas, a communication officer for an NGO. Everything changed on the 27th of September 2022.
It was an ordinary Tuesday night. Nicholas and Matri Molver were here in their flat doing some work. They had a glass of wine each, showered, and then went to bed. But they never woke up again.
When the cleaning service couldn't get into their flat that morning, the caretaker asked Nicholas's older brother Luke, who had a key, to let them in.
I walked in, I called their names. I walked around the bed and I saw their faces were blue, and I touched my brother's face, and he was cold, and I knew immediately.
And the caretaker phoned and she said, "Zoe, you'd better come now." And in the background I could hear my Matthew and my Luke howling.
It is the call that every parent dreads.
I stopped the car and I could see the courtyard was filled with cops, with all sorts of people, and I got out and Luke came up to me and said, "Mum, Nick is dead, Matri is dead."
I'm so sorry.
Because the thing with loss is you will never see them again.
Nicholas and Matri lived at the end of the 2nd floor in flat number 31 and shared a common wall with flat number 32, where fumigation had taken place.
There was, although I did not initially notice it, I think probably because I was in just the state, but there was a distinct smell of toxic gas, some kind of gas. And the fire department was called in. They determined that the gas was not coming from within my brother and sister's flats, but the flat next door had been fumigated.
In this flat, rogue fumigators threw aluminium phosphide pellets all over the place. Now, when the pellets come into contact with moisture from the air, they start to release a gas which is colorless, flammable, and deadly.
Fumigation is dangerous, okay? But it's not dangerous if you know what you're doing. In this case, it became dangerous because the individual didn't even know exactly what he was playing with.
The police roped in Moses Chetty, Vice President of the Pest Control Federation of South Africa, who's been in the business for 40 years. He recorded his assessment on his cell phone.
This tablet is all over to show you. This is an overkill. This is not pest control practice. This is beyond comprehension. Like I said, this is suicidal.
The fumigation industry in Durban is thriving, and it's because of pests like these, wood-eating ants and borer beetles. Before a home can be sold, it's sealed up or tented and flooded with toxic gas to kill the insects living in the wood. Observatory Court is no exception. Luke's own flat is damaged where wood borer ate through the skirtings and floorboards.
The floors in the fumigated flat and the floors in this flat are wooden, and there's a space between them. And as in Durban, everything's riddled with woodworm. I think that is one aspect of how the gas entered this flat.
The doors were not sealed, the windows were not sealed, so the wind was blowing everything into this passage.
And under the door of Nicholas and Matri's flat.
Nicholas and Matri died in a place that everybody would regard as safe. They died in their bedroom as a result of reckless negligence of strangers.
Zoe believes that those strangers need to be held accountable. She and her sons have tracked the events to support the police investigation, putting together a dossier of their evidence.
The caretaker noted on her CCTV that there were two men walking through the courtyard. She went out and asked what they needed, who they were, and they announced that they were Mr. Khan, the fumigator, and a helper, and they were there to remove a stove from the flat number 32.
The flat was unoccupied at the time and had borer damage. The owner hired KZN Fumigators, a newly established company. The owner, Irshad Khan, was paid 10,000 rands to remove the stove and fumigate. The owner had not informed anyone of the fumigation, and Khan only mentioned it by chance when the caretaker saw them leaving.
And she said, well, do I need to tell the young couple? Mr. Khan said, no, it'll all be done, it'll be finished. It's not anything to worry about.
Pest control regulations are strict on fumigation. The tenants should have been informed, the flats evacuated. Fumigation display boards should have been placed in prominent positions. None of this happened. Dr. Gerard Verdoorn, one of South Africa's top experts on pesticides, believes that if Irshad Khan had just read the label, he would have seen it was the wrong product to use.
But there is no reason to think it can be safely applied in any premises where people work or reside or in hospitality whatsoever, because it was never intended for that purpose. It is not on any label of any aluminum phosphide in the country that it can be used in a domestic situation at all.
Mr. Khan is not even a pest control operator. He is just a normal individual, as far as I'm concerned, normal citizen that's walking around that's taking a chance and tried his luck.
Mdumbele, a retired Hawks captain, now in private security, believes Khan's actions were criminal.
The first thing which came to my mind is that if not investigated, obviously this can go on and happen elsewhere.
Mbele has been assisting the police in their investigations, and what he has uncovered is startling.
Whoever was the company, they didn't have a license. And digging more, I realized that even the license used did not belong to the people who ended up fumigating.
The evidence indicates that Khan wasn't registered as a pest control operator, and he used a deadly chemical in a residential setting. To buy the aluminium phosphide, he fraudulently used a license that did not belong to him. When he bought the poison from a wholesale company, he said his intended use was for mole control.
Aluminium phosphide can only be purchased and used by a registered fumigator. But we've been doing our own research and anyone can buy it online. And some companies will even courier it to your home.
We called 2 South African companies and asked them whether they knew it was illegal to sell the product to unlicensed users.
It is a toxic chemical that is not supposed to be sold.
We buy it freely from our supplier. They have never, ever mentioned to us that it's that toxic that it kills people. But if this is what you're telling me, I will never, ever sell it again, God forbid.
We've seen that there is a possible issue of this. We stopped the sales. We've also stopped all the transportation, and all stock has been uplifted and returned to supplier.
True to their word, an hour after our phone calls to the companies, the aluminium phosphide products were no longer available on their websites. But what about holding Irshad Khan accountable?
Hi there, how are you? Good, thanks. I'm looking for Mr. Khan. Irshad Khan.
He was not at home. His mother spoke to us but did not want to appear on camera.
So you are misinformed.
No, I'm not. You are misinformed.
No, not informed.
You are biased because you're his mother. What I'm working with is facts. What I'm saying to you is that when somebody uses somebody else's license and buys a toxic, let me finish, a toxic substance, it is fraud. And then takes that toxic substance and uses it for fumigation in a residential area that it's not supposed to be used, that is illegal.
I'm waiting for the lawyer to come back to us. It's not like he's running away from people. He's also waiting for answers. Obviously, he's devastated. He wants closure on this matter.
Believing that justice delayed is justice denied, the family sent the deceased's biological samples for private testing. It's reported that there's an up to 8 years backlog on state toxicology results. The Molvers weren't prepared to wait that long. I was finally able to speak to Irshad Khan.
Unfortunately, I'm not allowed to talk to any news reporters and news channels.
But you're also not allowed to use aluminium phosphide in a residential area, yet you did.
Yes, but I'm not allowed to talk to you. Listen, I got the police on my case and I've got them dealing with my lawyers. I need to deal with extra facilities. I'm stressed out.
You stressed out? Zoe Molver has lost her son and her daughter-in-law, and you want to tell me you stressed out? You stressed out when you used a toxic illegal gas. Oh, there he goes. He says he's stressed out.
The private laboratory completed the toxicology tests within a week, and it confirmed aluminium phosphide poisoning, which could make arrests possible.
One of the things that this tragedy has highlighted is that if you're going to hire someone to work with dangerous chemicals in your home, you need to make sure that they're registered with the relevant authorities. You can't rely on the fact that they're the experts and know what they're doing.
Consumer must catch a wake up, yes. You make the wrong choices and this is what can happen, okay? Why do you want to deal with an unknown entity? You don't even check his credentials.
I squarely blame both Mr. Irshad Khan and the owner of number 32. Both are culpable. It is not good enough that people can behave recklessly and negligently, and my 2 children die needlessly.
Thanks for watching. Why not drop us a comment below? We love reading your opinions. Remember, you can now access Carte Blanche stories anytime, anywhere, even offline. Carte Blanche, the podcast, is now available on all major podcast platforms, so be sure to hit that follow or subscribe button and be part of our growing online family.